Thanks for tuning in to Broadcast Brains at SEMPTE 2017. Today I'm really proud to introduce our next guest for interviewing, David Ross, CEO of Ross Video. So, thanks, David. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
Well, we've had a really great time setting this system up at SEMPTE, and one of the things we really wanted to chat about was some new equipment that you brought out at NAB this year. The new Graphite production system has been a really exciting piece of kit, and in fact we're using it for this live stream right now. If you could just tell us a little bit more about the inspiration behind Graphite and what we have here today.
Well, over the years we've had a lot of customers that would combine Ross products with all-in-ones and things like that, and we really saw that there was a number of technical problems with all-in-ones that nobody had really been able to solve before. One of the examples is, being based on a software-based platform, if you needed to reboot the system because the graphics wasn't working or something like that, you'd lose your entire, or even the live stream, you'd lose your entire production. You couldn't even do a line cut. So we thought, with our technology, we'd be able to put an entire production switcher on the PCI card itself. So in some ways, you don't add any more cards to the system. There's already a PCI card to bring the video in and out. Why not put a production switcher right on that and give it its own processor and make it entirely separate from the rest of the box? So one of our goals right from the start was if you had to reboot even the operating system, you could still switch and cut and do a production, live on air. And there's another problem that we had as well, was that the graphics in these all-in-ones really just doesn't stand up to the needs of a lot of our customers. The first things that the all-in-ones do is they come to Ross, for example, and they say, could you integrate expression with our all-in-one, or we need that as a source because we need higher-end graphics for the box. And then you sit there and think, okay, if you're already buying an outside graphics box and for that, well, now you've got a PC-based switcher that can crash and reboot. Like, what was the value of the box in the first place? So we wanted to be able to put the two together and then add a decent audio engine to it as well. And so that's what Graphite became. And we were able to hit the price point of where the competition was. So I don't see any reason why people wouldn't absolutely love Graphite.
Well, certainly from our experience with it so far, Graphite's been a fantastic piece of kit. We're using it to produce all of our graphics on this, all of our lower thirds, everything coming through is produced on Graphite, including the screen behind us. And one of the things that we personally really liked about it is the fact that we can keep live even whilst rebooting the system. And certainly one of the first things we did when we got our Graphite in was say, well, let's see how we can break it. And the great news was that we couldn't. We were switching, we were getting pictures out, and that was a fantastic piece of kit. Yeah. Obviously, like any system, if we lose power entirely, like we did this morning here on set,
well, then you'll have a broadcast.
It doesn't really matter. But one of the great things we had out of it is that whilst when we had power restored to the facility, we were instantly back up and running. All the graphics and things were ready to roll, and it didn't hold us back at all. Yep. Certainly one of the things I wanted to touch on more about Graphite was that certainly Ross with expression and carbonite. I mean, carbonite's has been such a game changer in the market for Ross, and has become a staple of the industry. I suppose none of us were ever really doubting the ability of your company to develop a great vision mixing platform along with a graphics system that's going to produce top-end graphics with the look that makes it look like shiny TV. The big thing that we can see now is that the Rave audio engine that you've built into the system, what we'd seen with Carbonite from when it first came out with version 1 software to now we're sitting version 12, it's just transformed over time to be such a much more powerful engine with free firmware updates. Where do you see the future with the Rave audio engine?
Yes, so with the Rave audio engine, I mean, we did make, a decent multi-channel audio mixer that has a variety of external analog I/O, as well as being able to disembed the audio from the incoming video streams, as well as coming down from the PC as well. One of the things, and basically, as soon as we had that, we said, time to ship, version 1.0, because I mean, obviously it comes with a full expression built in. It has a carbonite that can work with the control panels. Those are the easy bits. So the newest technology is the audio engine, just like what you're talking about. Some of the things that we're really interested in on one side is just being able to offer more of the I/O, the analog I/O and things like that that you're seeing inside the Rave box. So we're looking at being able to stack those up to be able to have a lot more physical connections of I/O into the box. The other side of it is because it's built on a PC platform, in this case, being able to bring in, say, Dante Audio or something like that, and being able to take advantage of the PC platform where that is and then drive it down into the audio engine as well. So you'd have the best of all worlds. You'd have the ability to have analog I/O, embedded I/O, as well as I/O coming down from the PC and over IP. And I think that's just the beginning. So I think there's a lot of life in this box.
Yeah. Well, certainly from where it starts now in the version 1.0 of Graphite, we're producing these shows right now out of it, and we're really happy with the results. But certainly looking forward into the industry, you've been involved in this for a long time now, and certainly you'll be seeing technology change. Well, I think the only constant in this industry is change.
That's right.
But what's your feel on where we're going? How quickly do you see this world going to an all IP world? And what are the good points, and where do you see the scary points for producers moving forward?
Wow. There's a big question. You know, in the all IP world side of things, I'm actually giving a paper on it later in the show, and I'm on a panel as well talking about IP and the pros and cons and challenges. We're doing a lot with it already. We're already installing, IP productions. We've got IP on our large production switchers. We've got it on our graphics, and we just launched, a Raptor product for being able to bridge between SDI and IP and back again. And there's more coming on top of all that. What we're seeing is, again, kind of like the audio engine in Rave. It's 1.0. Yeah. And there's so many more things that we really need to do. For example, being able to have the single COT switch being able to pass files and metadata and control signals, as well as video, as well as audio, and be able to handle all those different types of streams, some that are time critical, some that have a lot of bandwidth, and some that are bursty like files. Yep. And be able to handle that all at once. Our industry needs to put a lot more effort into defining the protocols that the sources identify, so the control system can handle that, being able to manage switches well enough to be able to do all those things together, because you don't want to have to buy two different switches in your facility. It kind of defeats the purpose. And I think we really need, as an industry, to get more and more products, on the bandwagon, because it's not okay to just have one or two manufacturers in each product category. You need to have the same breadth of product that you have today in SDI. So the other challenge that we have is, in SDI, you'll be able to just take a cable and plug it in and see whether it worked, and if it didn't, you'd unplug it and plug it in directly into the monitor and say, well, I have a signal or I don't. When you've got a system where you say, I want a signal and I have a signal, can I have it? Here it is, this is the type it is, and things like that, and it doesn't work. Is it your switch that's set up incorrectly? Is it control system? Is it the source? Is it the destination? Is it a bandwidth problem? Is there something else on the network? Is there a block on the port? We need a lot more work on diagnostics as well, because we have to make it easy for both the IP engineers and the broadcast engineers, because they're all going to be one person. So we've got a long way to go, but we're making unbelievable strides even as it is today.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a very exciting time for the industry as a whole, and I know we're looking forward to seeing the technology mature, and certainly maybe in a few years' time that these flyaway kits that we build will be a quarter of the size. Yep. But right now, certainly what we're seeing with Graphite is actually a new way to make our fly packs a quarter of the size.
That's actually one of the interesting things that we've been looking at, is that for small productions, SDI is an amazingly compact, cost-effective solution, even if you're going up to 4K. With say, our Ultrix platform that we're showing, I mean, you've got 12 multi-viewers, 1536 squared audio matrix. You've got 72 squared UHD matrix, and more inside of a 2RU box. You try to do that in an IP situation, and the number of terabits of data that you have to move, you end up with the equivalent of, say, 5 gateways, and then a COT switch, and then external boxes to be able to do the audio and the video processing, the multi-viewers. IP scales really well for big facilities and even some mid-sized facilities, but it's actually the opposite of what you need for the small facilities. So I think it's important to look at really what the application is and use the right technology, and Ross has been working really hard on both.
Yeah, all right. Well, certainly from our experience there, I think that we've actually using Ultrix routers in one of our other trucks and things, and we have seen in that world that we have a look and say, well, there's 72 12 gigabit connections on the thing. And as you say, when you go and build network routers or network switches, and you go and look and say, well, I want that amount of bandwidth in a box, you're generally not going to get it in 2 rack units.
No.
And it's also a pretty expensive piece of kit. And I think we've all seen 6 IT people trying to come and diagnose why we've lost the internet. So I think that we want to be able to have a system that broadcast engineers can quickly diagnose. When we're on air, we don't have the time to lose 30 minutes of production.
Well, that's one of the things, is that you end up in a large system. To do all the interconnections, you're into fiber optics and SFPs. You're into circuit boards with inputs and outputs and things like that. When you're trying to modularize all the information that you're trying to process and going through switches and top of racks and things like that. In a small system, it's an FPGA. It's a single integrated circuit with a ton of logic, and it's just talking to itself. So. Yep. If it worked in the, when we built it, it works when it goes out there, and the cost of the connection is essentially zero of interconnecting all these parts, and that's one of the keys behind how Ultrix is so powerful and so inexpensive. But again, for IP, it doesn't scale to a large facility, so you need both.
Absolutely. Well, David, thanks for your time today. Really appreciate coming on our broadcast brain set, and hopefully everyone's really gotten a little bit more knowledge on graphite. What we'd like to leave you with here is a little video that Ross has produced with a little bit of a technical overview on the Graphite Live production system. And David, thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate you being here.
Cheers.
Hi, my name is Jeremy Bork, and I'm a trainer here at Ross Video, and I have the pleasure of introducing to the world for the very first time our first all-in-one production system, Graphite. Graphite is a production system that consists of a carbonite switcher, an expression graphic generator with 2 clip channels, and a full audio mixer. The Graphite contains a fully functioning carbonite, which consists of 12 SDI inputs, 1 HDMI input, 6 SDI outputs, and 2 HDMI outputs. The system is full of memories, custom controls. All the things that you would come to expect from Carbonite are available in Graphite. We can control Carbonite from either View Control, the Carbonite soft panel, or you can purchase any of our optional Carbonite hard panels. The Carbonite in Graphite comes with all the features you have come to love from the Carbonite family, including mini-me's. Graphite includes a single channel version of expression motion graphics with 2 channels of clip playback. Graphite includes Rave, an audio production engine with a 24-channel mixer. As with all Ross products, Graphite is controlled through the Ross Video dashboard, either using the soft panel or View Control. As with all Ross products, Graphite allows you to build complicated effects, but recall them with ease. For example, if I wanted to recall a chroma key, I can use a custom control in Carbonite, and in Graphite for that matter, which will allow us to control expression, control Carbonite, and also control our clip playback. So I can recall this effect, and it's going to bring it all up into preview. When I'm ready to transition to that on air, I can use View Control and I can trigger my transition. I can also move from this chroma key effect to a 2-box, which is also triggering more expression graphics and more clip playback. Bring keys in and bring keys out. All this we've built beforehand, but we're able to trigger it on the fly whenever it is required. This has been a quick look at the Graphite all-in-one production system. For more information, please go to rossvideo.com.